All right, let's begin with what the world's talking about, Donald Trump in Davos. As expected, Donald Trump style, he spoke at length about what he wants, and that's it, what he wants and what America wants, oblivious to anybody else's feelings of what they want. Well, here's what Donald Trump said. We give so much to the world but get such little in return. Those literally were the words of US President Donald Trump at the World Economic Forum in Davos that's currently underway. His speech has just ended. All eyes were on him and what he said, and it was nearly an hour and a half of what he spoke, and he spoke classic Trump style. Using yet another global stage here to push his Make America Great Again agenda, Donald Trump followed a very familiar playbook. First, America First pattern that he's always maintained. He said that even here at Davos. First, the United States, where he spoke extensively about what America wants, and now he's used Davos as the stage to reiterate his push. So let's begin as to what really was his main demand. Now, Donald Trump and Greenland, that's really an equation that hasn't boded well with most European countries. And of course, Greenland out in protest at this point, condemning what Donald Trump has been saying and saying nothing, no matter what happens, they will not allow Donald Trump to take over Greenland. But that said, Donald Trump has been stern. He's made it very clear America wants Greenland and wants it so badly, calling it very small ask. He says that he is just asking for a piece of ice. He describes Greenland as critical to U.S. national security. Trump has warned U.S. will want full ownership, not a lease, and floated plans for a golden dome as well on the territory. Ruled out force, though. He says, I will not force this takeover, but I will ensure it happens. Let's hear it.
So now our country and the world face much greater risks than it did ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about. 2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of. They weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated. They said, we've got them in our sights. Press the trigger, and nothing happened. No anti-aircraft missiles went up. There was one that went up about 30 feet and crashed down right next to the people that sent it. They said, what the hell is going on? Those defensive systems were made by Russia and by China. So they're going to go back to the drawing boards, I guess. Greenland is a vast, almost entirely uninhabited and undeveloped territory. It's sitting undefended in a key strategic location between the United States, Russia, and China. That's exactly where it is, right smack in the middle. Wasn't important nearly when we gave it back. You know, when we gave it back, it wasn't the same as it is now. It's not important for any other reason, you know, everyone talks about the minerals. There's so many places. There's no rare earth, no such thing as rare earth. There's rare processing, but there's so much rare earth. And this, to get to this rare earth, you got to go through hundreds of feet of ice. That's not the reason we need it. We need it for strategic national security and international security. This enormous unsecured island is actually part of North America, on the northern frontier of the Western Hemisphere. That's our territory. It is therefore a core national security interest of the United States of America. And in fact, it's been our policy for hundreds of years to prevent outside threats from entering our hemisphere. And we've done it very successfully. We've never been stronger than we are now. That's why American presidents have sought to purchase Greenland for nearly 2 centuries. You know, for 2 centuries they've been trying to do it. They should have kept it after World War II, but they had a different president. That's all right. People think differently. Much more necessary now than it was at that time, however.
Now, speaking about NATO, an outright warning that Trump has given, questioning the alliance's commitment to the United States. President of America says that we've given so much to NATO. Without us, they wouldn't have even been in existence. But NATO doesn't stand by us when we need them. He said America would stand by NATO 100%, but was unsure if allies would do the same for America. Trump claims that the United States has been paying nearly everything for NATO security, so they are indebted.
This would not be a threat to NATO. This would greatly enhance the security of the entire alliance, the NATO alliance. The United States is treated very unfairly by NATO. I want to tell you that. And when you think about it, nobody can dispute it. We give so much and we get so little in return. And I've been a critic of NATO for many years. And yet I've done more to help NATO than any other president by far, than any other person. You wouldn't have NATO if I didn't get involved in my first term.
And as expected, Trump turned his fire to Europe. He said large parts of the European continent are no longer recognizable and are not heading in the right direction, in his view. He's blamed unchecked mass migration in Europe and green energy policies. Stressing on that, here's what he said. Particularly, bring in what Trump said on Venezuela. He said the U.S. had secured 50 million barrels of oil for Venezuela. Trump calls himself as the big savior, that he saved Venezuela from all that happening there. He stressed on Venezuela and his victory there. Let's hear it.
Under my leadership, U.S. natural gas production is at an all-time high by far. U.S. oil production is up by 730,000 barrels a day. And last week we picked up 50 million barrels from Venezuela alone. Venezuela has been an amazing place for so many years, but then they went bad with their policies. 20 years ago, it was a great country, and now it's got problems, but we're helping them. And those 50 million barrels, we're going to be splitting up with them, and they'll be making more money than they've made in a long time. Venezuela is going to do fantastically well. We appreciate all of the cooperation we've been giving. We've been giving great cooperation. Once the attack ended, and they said, let's make a deal. More people should do that. But Venezuela is going to make more money in the next 6 months than they've made in the last 20 years. Every major oil company is coming in with us. It's amazing. It's a beautiful thing to see. The leadership of the country has been very good. They've been very, very smart.
Well, the rant did not stop there at Davos. It seems almost every country has its due with the United States presidents. Yet again, the forum was less economic and more political. Trump attacked Canada on that stage, claiming that the country survives because of the United States. Trump criticized sustainable energy models yet again and said countries with more windmills lose more money. As per the US president, climate-driven energy policies damage economies rather than strengthen them. So he has had a whole host of things to say, largely in criticism. At the end of it, for Donald Trump, he said, everything is a deal for me. Countries who say yes, we appreciate, and those who say no, America will remember. Words of Donald Trump.